Let's speak to our correspondent in Brussels, Dave Keating. Hello to you, Dave. Tell us more about what's in this agreement.
Yeah, I mean, EU national governments have been trying to reach a deal to reform the EU's migration rules for years, and there was a significant breakthrough last night. However, there's still more hurdles. So essentially, this rule would reform the Dublin system of asylum seekers when they arrive at the EU's external borders, how they need to be processed. And the essential change in this agreement would be that certain categories of asylum seekers could be processed immediately and could, in theory, be sent home immediately. Now, they still need to be sent to a safe country, but it appears that the definition of a safe country could be a little looser now, and the national governments could interpret it in different ways. They could also send rejected asylum seekers to safe countries that the asylum seeker doesn't necessarily have a connection to, for instance, if they just transited through that country during their journey. There's other parts of this agreement where interior countries that don't have an EU external border can either agree to take in migrants from those border countries, or they can contribute to a fund that will fund some unspecified projects. It looks like those projects would be in third countries, for instance, in North Africa. So this was a compromise, but it did go a long way into appeasing the demands of Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, that she was the real holdout here, and they really needed Italy's assent to make this agreement happen. This will now pass to the European Parliament, which needs to approve it.
Yeah, Dave, on that, tell us a little bit more about what's next then.
Yeah, so as I say, the European Parliament will need to approve this, and it's going to have a bumpy ride there, I think, because there's a lot of MEPs who feel that too many concessions have been given to Italy. And in fact, they didn't even need Italy's vote. Under those qualified majority voting rules that you mentioned, where countries representing 60% of the EU's population are needed to reach that qualified majority, the blocking countries that Italy was leading, about 10 countries, they didn't have enough votes to block this. So they could have passed this without Italy. But the feeling last night was that they needed Italy on board because it's such a big country, and it is really the center of the migration debate. It receives the most asylum seekers of any EU country. And so they had to give these concessions to Italy in order to get Italy on board, even if they technically didn't need Italy's vote. It appears that an agreement by European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen to travel to Tunisia with Italy's far-right Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni this weekend may have helped clinch this deal. Now, we haven't had statements yet from the European Parliament's two biggest groups, the European People's Party on the right and the Socialists and Democrats on the left, and they're going to be key to watch here. We've already had statements from the Green Group, for instance. They obviously do not like this deal. They think it violates international laws about how countries need to process asylum seekers. Generally, the left is not happy with this. So the key is to watch that center-left group, the Socialists and Democrats, and how they will vote. We do have a European election coming up in just about a year's time, and that is definitely going to affect things. They want some type of deal to reform the EU's migration rules done before the election next June. They want to be able to go to voters and say, we are trying to deal with this issue of migration. However, the left is going to be worried that if they approve a deal that's seen to be kowtowing to the far right in these various countries, that could hurt them at the ballot box in June. So all eyes now on the Parliament for this agreement.
All right, Dave, thank you very much. Dave Keating reporting from Brussels.